As we come into this world, we are presented with a family. And no family is perfect. One can be better than another in terms of physically securing us, emotionally securing us, giving us the attention we need as children, giving us proper education and preparation for the world. Some are not as fortunate to receive that. And every family comes with its own quirks, with its own perks. Some will come with a lot of good quirks and perks, interesting and unique ways of doing things and going about things. Some might come with more bad and toxic traits, right? Some might come with traits that are not as beneficial to conduct yourself in a society and around people. Those we can call generational trauma. And the generational trauma is a trauma because a group of people or a person in a certain lineage or a certain generation has experienced some form of trauma or big letdown, something that has impacted them for their whole life, and they have passed down that to their children, their grandchildren. Don't do this because I've experienced that. For example, don't open your bakery shop. This has happened to me and I don't want you going through that again. Or don't be an artist because I wasn't able to receive money from this. Or any other thing that you may think of that made the next generations somewhat repeat that thought pattern, even subconsciously, because of somebody else's experience in a generation before them. So a generational trauma is passed through generations, and it's a behavior that came from coping with a certain event that might have happened that now is being passed down through others. They might have been developed in that household only during that generation, or it has been passed down through various generations. A lot of behaviors like alcoholism, like being judgmental, like, oh, you're trying to be an artist, or you're trying to be successful. Oh, who do you think you are? Our family comes from nothing, and what do you think people will think about you? There's a ton of patterns and a ton of generational trauma that can be passed down for various reasons in various ways, and it just depends a lot on the family and the way certain people were raised. So a toxic pattern could have been created in a household, in one generational household, or it could have been transmitted, because when you think about it, if two people get married and have a baby, they are bringing their own generational traumas, if not healed, and creating a new one by mixing it together, for example, right? So to heal generational trauma, as it is implied by me saying that it is brought by the next generation, like your parents brought it from their past into their present, it is brought by the successors of those who haven't healed. So the way that you were raised might have made you act on a lot of generational trauma and create more of it and pass more to it to other people. It's kind of like a virus, and if someone is immune to it, aka they were able to recognize it and not take it too hard so that they don't act on it. And there is other cases where if you are not immune to it, You can easily provoke suffering on people that don't deserve it. And you provoke the same suffering that you have been dealt by others onto someone new. And that is how generational trauma is passed down. And not only in that way, but if you have the genetic code, because as you are born with a mixture of your father and your mother's genetic pool. And that by default, if certain traumas and certain patterns were not stopped by your both parents, that by default creates another person or another body that is susceptible to acting out on those ways, because it's kind of like little magnets and little mirrors to act out more easily on something. For example, if your father didn't heal a pattern that he has created or previous generations before him has created, which is, for example, alcoholism, you will be more susceptible on repeating the same pattern if you do not stop it, if you do not recognize it. So various traumas can be passed through both of your parents, and it could have been, again, created in that household or have been passed down through generations. And because you were born from parents that didn't heal certain patterns and traumas that they have created or that they have been passed down, you are more susceptible on acting out and being more active on certain patterns and traumas than other people that don't have that predisposition, right? Because we all have a choice of change, but certain people might be more susceptible to falling short to it, and others might have an easier way to deal with it, depending on how, again, your parents dealt with healing that pattern. So, how do you heal it? And why would you heal and stop certain patterns? It's quite obvious, right? Because many of those patterns might be very detrimental to you and your surroundings and the people that you love and come in contact with. If you realize the power that you hold in the whole process or the whole pattern of that trauma, you will see how powerful you are in stopping it and why stop it. All of the traumas and patterns that have been repeated and not healed by your predecessors are conglomerated in you. You are an individual that has all of the previous experience from all of your grandmothers, grandfathers, mothers, and fathers. And you as an individual have the power to recognize it and to put a stop to it. From all those people, it came all to you, and you, by healing it, by stopping a certain pattern, like for example, alcoholism, you will be able, if you have children, and not only physical children, but people around you. You pass down information and influence to others. And if you stop yourself from ever again doing that trauma and that pattern, you will be able to be a greater influence to other people, because not only you have stopped doing a certain thing that has been repeated for generations, but also you have learned how to stop it, and you have learned why not to do it, as well as how to help others stop it. So it's a great learning lesson that you can learn if you decide to go on the journey of stopping various generational patterns and traumas that do not benefit you and do not resonate with the life that you want to have. So how do you stop generational trauma and generational patterns and put the end to it and create better and new generational patterns? First of all, like any type of trauma or disease, not every, but you have to notice it and you notice it, you might notice it one day out of the blue, or you realize, oh wait, I've been doing this all along. Or you have been noticing this since you were able to perceive as a person, right? As you were born into this world, you have seen and perceived how certain parts of your family have been acting in certain ways. And you have been seeing, okay, this is a problem that my family has. This is a problem my parents have. This is a problem that I seem to have, for example, right? And doesn't matter when you noticed it, if you know it exists, there is a way to put a stop to it. And to put a stop to it, you have to realize it and start catching yourself mid-action, catching yourself mid-thought. If you have been repeating this for a long time, not even talking about all the generations previous to you that have been acting on it, and that are now instilled memory codes within your own body, you have the power as an individual to put a stop to it mid-process. If you, for example, do certain things, or it's a thought pattern, or it's a way of doing something, or it's specifically doing something. It will not be easy, obviously, to stop it right there and then. But if you start noticing it, start making sure that you are putting it might not be big effort, you might not be able to stop it right then and there, but if you notice it, you at least apply some form of attention and making sure that you are not acting on it as if that's what you're supposed to do, or that's what you've been doing, so fuck it. If you notice what you're doing is a generational curse and a pattern that you do not want to repeat, or it's a behavior that you are creating based on coping with certain things that you have been previous to, you notice that and you start bringing attention to how would you solve it? How would you stop it? For example, you might be addicted to alcohol or cigarettes or any other thing that you see as a problem, or you are recognizing as something that you don't want to continue repeating. Every time you want to grab a drink, realize that that's what you're doing and don't do it automatically. You at least realize it. And instead of drinking a whole bottle, you drink a few cups. Like, it will not, this is in any circumstance and situation and in thought patterns. You realize what you're doing and you stop yourself in the moment and realize, okay, I can't stop right now, but at least I can stop drinking the whole bottle. I will drink half of it, Then second time, you apply the same way, and because you didn't drink the whole bottle the previous time, now you see that you can actually not drink the whole bottle. So you drink half of the half that you drank yesterday. And you do these small steps in order to not repeat the mindless drive that you have. And you stop yourself in the process and you are able to regulate yourself at least. And this will not be like a cure-all thing. It might be a lifetime commitment for you not to abuse alcohol, for example. And when stopping a certain pattern, it's important for us to shift it into something better. For example, if we have a thought pattern that is not conducive to how we want to do things, we stop ourselves mid-thought and we make it the way that we want to think. It might be on a small scale. It might not be straight up like self-confident and know how to have a path of thought that is conducive to a successful action, or an action that will actually bring something super crazy good into reality, but just having a substitute to a negative thought pattern or action is already a good way to shift whatever you might be doing that is not beneficial into something that you are doing that is beneficial. For example, when it comes to the example of drinking, you might drink half a bottle. For example, if you drink a whole bottle, you usually drink always a bottle of something. You take an action to drink half the bottle, and you might be, a little unfulfilled because the other half of the bottle was half an hour that you could spend not thinking about your problems. In those other half an hour that you would spend drinking half of the bottle, now you take an action on something that you actually want to do. For example, you want to be a mechanic, or you want to repair computers, or you want to make candles. During those 30 minutes, if you don't know how to do something, you research it. For example, those 30 minutes that you would spend drinking that bottle, you will research how to fix cars, or how to or go to a course how to paint, or do something that is conducive to the path and reality that you want to be in and that you want to live. If you have a thought pattern that is non-conductive to the things that you want to do and you want to heal it, you're thinking, I don't know if I'm good enough, I'm so stupid or something. You're like, I'm so stupid. You realize it. Like, you have to be present in order to realize these things. You might be thinking, I'm so stupid when I said that. Hold on. At that moment, for example, I had to say this. I might regret this right now, but at that moment I felt it's right. Now that I know that I regret this, now I know that I will say something different in the next time. Or, I'm not worth it, I don't know how to do this. Wait, but I didn't even learn how to do this. Let's go and do this. I can do this. There are other examples, like a thought pattern, like you can't succeed, like there is a block which has been instilled in you, like self-sabotage. And self-sabotage in itself is not real. It's like a pattern of wanting to prevent yourself from harm. And why would you get harmed by something that you want to do? There is a pattern that has been going on within your mind and maybe instilled by others, especially your family and your parents, that now you have to break down in order to see that it actually isn't even that real. Maybe before it was real. You can't go, like you are 6 years old, you can't go to the city alone. That kind of makes sense, right? You could get kidnapped. You could get run by a car because you are not yet aware of the consequences of going around the city without assistance of adults. A lot of things could happen. But now that you are an adult, you have the mental capabilities and capacities to analyze and go alone to the city without worrying to get kidnapped or run over by a car. Right now you have the capabilities to do that. So that trauma of not being able to do things on your own, for example, and that self-sabotage, that if I create now a business, I have to have someone helping me because I don't know how to do this, or I don't know if I can do this. It's how you perceive it, and is it really that I cannot do this, or is it something that I think I can't do this because I haven't ever done this before? And when you learn how to regulate yourself and self-analyze in various situations that you might perceive as a pattern that you do not want to repeat, you will be able to teach others how to overcome it, and you will be stronger, and you will, if you have kids, you will be able to give birth to a person that quite literally has instilled in them how to overcome a certain problem. And you yourself, by educating them, you will be able to instill that into them as well. And you will not repeat the same harm that others did to you. Instead, you will be able to teach them how to see it, see certain patterns, and heal it, recognize it, or right there and then stop it, and instead actually make a good impact in the world, and make an impact in the world that helps others in overcoming certain traumas and problems that do not have any benefit in reality, right? So hopefully this was interesting to you guys. Generational trauma is very real, and each and every one of us has it in smaller or bigger levels. And I think by us realizing the problem, it's already half of the battle, because then you are able to see, you are willing to see the things that you are repeating, and you are able to take small steps to actually achieve a state of where you do not cause the same harm that was caused to you, and you can actually help others heal in the process. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you liked, and I will see you all very soon. Make sure to comment and let me know about your experience as well, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.